All right, Coach, thanks for your time this afternoon. Moving on to Game 6 of the season, facing UMass on the road. If you would talk about the Minutemen, we'll take some questions.
Obviously UMass is off to a great start. They've done a great job of, meshing a lot of transfers and doing things that they needed to do to make their team capable to this point. I don't think a lot of people had a lot of expectations for UMass other than them, and they've proven a lot of people wrong to this point, and they're playing well. They're a big physical football team on offense, and they've done a great job stopping the run on defense. So it's a quality football team. There's plenty of reasons why they rank where they're ranked in the country. So it'll be a great task for us, and hopefully we can make the trip and get things turned around.
Thank you. Question.
Hey, Coach Scott, do you know who you're starting a quarterback yet?
No, we don't right now. We've got a couple possibilities, a couple of different scenarios that we're playing with. Obviously, Nick finished up the game for us last week, and we're going to play with some scenarios and just see what's best for our team.
Is there a strategic advantage, though slight, that they don't know what you're doing?
I think so. I think it's tough to prepare for the unknown. It's not by design on our part. It's just it's kind of just we're doing what's best for us right now at this point, and we'll come up with the best solution for our team.
Is there any way you could have prepared for this kind of scenario, and is there anything in your past that you can draw on to deal with a situation like this?
I don't recall, ever being in this type of situation injury-wise, but as far as just being able to recall things from my past, I've been in programs that haven't quite gotten off to the start that we wanted to, and we finished strong. I think that's the mindset of this staff, that's the mindset of this team, is to make sure that we can put our kids in the situation to be as successful as they can be down the stretch.
Hey, Latrell, when is John Laub likely to be ready to play?
It's kind of an unknown for us right now. Obviously, the doctors have their timetables. John has his timetable, and hopefully we'll meet somewhere in between. But, we don't expect to have John this week for sure.
And will John be the starting quarterback automatically as soon as he's healthy enough to play, or will it depend on the play of whoever it is?
Well, I think it just depends on what's best for our team. Obviously John's got more experience than anyone does, and he's never started a game, but he's got more experience than anyone who could possibly play a quarterback right now. So, we've got to get John back before we can even worry about talking about that.
You mentioned UMass transfers. I think I counted they had 21 total. What's your reaction to that and that philosophy in building a team?
Well, I think, to each his own. I mean, if you want to, do that, that's what fits your program best. But I think their coaching staff has to be given a great amount of credit for the fact that they could mesh those guys together, because, certainly when you bring so many guys from so many different, backgrounds and schools and teams, it can be tough. So you've got to credit their staff for doing such a great job of making those guys believe in each other and buying into what their staff's teaching.
This is these seniors have been through a lot of success, obviously, and does that help in this situation, that they can sort of be your rudder?
Certainly it does. This senior group was here with us as true freshmen when we started out, 4-0. We beat a BCS school and, finished the season 6-5. And we had to fight and hold together to make sure we had a winning record that season. And, these seniors were also on this team in 2008 when this team started out 2-3. So they've been here before, and, they're as optimistic as they can be. These guys came out, to practice on Sunday, or came to our meetings on Sunday. They smiled, they laughed. They came out to practice yesterday, had a good time. And, we don't have a down team, nor do we have a down staff, so it's refreshing to see how these guys are reacting right now. I mean, these guys are expecting to go out and win this week.
Have you once allowed yourself to think, why me?
No. I mean, no, because it makes no sense. I mean, and if I do take the time to do that, then I'm taking away time from, trying to create ways to score points. So, if you worry about things like that, if you worry about the things that you can't control, you're not really helping yourself or the team.
Any chance you guys would run the wishbone?
No, not a chance. I mean, no one here knows anything about the wishbone, so,
With 3 losses already, how much more pressure is there for you guys this week and the rest of the season to keep on winning, to keep the hopes of playoffs alive?
We've talked about having a 1-week season, all year long. I mean, when we opened up against Virginia, that was just one game. One game doesn't make the whole season. Obviously, playoff implications, come into play right now, but I've got this team focused on being the best they can be this week to beat UMass.
Hey, Latrell, do you know what specifically Aaron's knee situation is, what they're going to fix, or that's to be determined once they go in?
I think a lot of it's still to be determined. He had some swelling, in the actual injury, and it's kind of tough to tell even on the MRIs exactly what they'll have to fix when they go in.
Given the medical situation this year, past next season?
I don't think so. I think, just based on the rules, because he redshirted at USC. I don't think we'd be able to file for a 6th year, but we definitely expect him to be healthy, and ready to go in the spring.
Weldon is going to take the solo in the second part. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
Patrick, could you reflect on the 2008 game up there and the pivotal nature of that thing, given where you guys were coming from and where you ended up going?
Oh yeah, it was a great game, especially as most people know with where we were at in the season. I think we were 4-3 going into that game. We've just come off a really heartbreaking loss to James Madison, and I remember after that game we had a team meeting, just reflected on our season, what we wanted to do, and we all came together and made our, reflected on our goals and realized that we wanted to keep pushing and make the playoffs and go as far as we ultimately did. And that game was the first game and the step towards our long winning streak that we had.
Does it strike you as almost ironic that the circumstances are almost the same between the 2 years?
I think it is interesting, the way that it's played out. I don't know how that's going to affect the way we play. We need to come out and just focus real hard this week in practice and do our best to win the game.
Is there a defensive sense that we got to jack it up even more because you're probably not going to score a bunch of points?
Well, I think we have that mentality every week. We pride ourselves with our defense around here. We've had a very strong defense for as long as I've been here, and we started off a little slow. So I think we put it on ourselves every week that we need to improve and get better. And we have full confidence in our offense. No matter who's taking the snaps, we have confidence in our offensive line, our wide receivers, and our running backs that they can put up points. So we're not looking at that we need to carry the load. We're just looking at that we need to improve every week and just play our best game every week.
What is the mood on the sideline during the game when a player like Aaron goes down? It doesn't have to be him, it can be anybody. When it's not expected and you realize that a large portion of what you're trying to do on either side of the ball is now gone away.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you really feel for the player. I don't think you really reflect on, okay, how's this going to affect our game, because it's the next man up mentality. When somebody goes down, somebody needs to take the place. But when an injury happens like that to a great player like Aaron or somebody else, you just feel bad for them because they've put so much effort, and we know exactly what they've been doing, how they've been training, and it's heartbreaking to see something like that happen.
You've been through so much success here. Is there a feeling that we're going to circle the wagons now? We're not going to go out in a terrible way, record-wise.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, we don't have that mentality that we're going to give up. We definitely want to keep pushing. The season's not over by a long shot, and I don't think anyone on the team has the mindset that we're out of it. Many things can happen. There's still 6 games left in the season. No one really knows what's going to happen. No one knows the circumstances. And I feel like this team, especially with the seniors that we have, there's a small number of us, but we've been around a lot of successful teams. We've played with a lot of older guys who've had success, and I think it's on us to help lead these younger guys through a time where we are facing some adversity to push forward so we can get back to the success that we've had in the past.
What's the first thing that hits you when you look at UMass?
Very physical and very well-coached team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I think the biggest thing in football is you can't beat yourselves, and UMass does that very well. They're very well-coached. They do their assignments, and like I said before, they're very physical. They have very big offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, and they do a great job running the ball and passing the ball.
Do you guys talk much about all this injury stuff amongst yourselves? I mean, you're one of them. You're one of the guys who was hurt earlier this year. I mean, have you guys said, how could this be happening to us? What's going on? That kind of thing.
We try not to. I mean, it's part of football. Things like this happen. It is unfortunate that we've had so many of them, but it happens every year to every team, and it's just the name of the game, and you got to push past it.
Are the players curious about what's going to happen at that quarterback position? Do you guys talk about that? Are you concerned at all? Think about it?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that you're not sure exactly how it's going to play out, but we're trying to, especially coming from the defensive aspect, we're really trying to focus on keeping our game plan and pushing forward like we have been week by week. And I trust anybody who's taking snaps, trust our running backs, our wide receivers, our offensive line, and I think no matter who's out there on Saturday, they'll be able to get the job done.